Welcome to Technado with Don Pizzette, featuring sysadmin expert Don Pizzette, DevOps engineer Justin Dennison, security specialist Daniel Lowry, and Peter.
Welcome to Technado with Don Pizzette. We've got a great show today. We're going to talk a lot about mobile right off the top here because we have a guest, Tzachi Zack, from he's a co-founder and chief product officer at Cubed Mobile. And how you doing today?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you guys?
We're very good. I almost said how you doing this morning, but I don't think it's morning where you are. You're in Israel, correct?
Correct. So it's afternoon.
It's afternoon tomorrow, probably.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
You don't know how time zones
I
work,
don't know
do
what time works.
Since we're interviewing him now, does that mean it's afternoon for us too? And it's like almost
Yes.
bail.
Yeah, I think we're on his schedule now. So
Yeah.
Well, we're going to go ahead and back up after this.
yeah, workday's pretty much done. Hey, well, let's go ahead and jump right in and get to know you a little bit in our first segment with rapid fire questions.
Who do you work for?
What's new?
Who are you?
What's happening?
What's wrong with you?
Well, I'll go first today. Can you just? I went on your website and I think I have a grasp of what you guys do now. I watched the little video there, which I found to be very helpful with the cartoon for simple people like me. But if you could put it in your own words and kind of explain what it is that Cube Mobile does.
So basically, we realized that there is a problem with everything that relates to the mobile device management and security. There are a few solutions in the market, which probably many people knows about, like the MDMs and the UEMs, the Unified Mobile Management Tools. But we found out that many people, the employees, they don't really like the fact that you're installing, the IT, their employees are installing a complete agent inside their mobile, and they're actually controlling everything around their mobile. So because we came from security and virtualization, we hooked all the points together, and we thought to come up with a new approach to this domain. So basically, imagine you're holding two phones in your hand, and you combine them into one, basically. And one of the phones is a virtual phone. This phone will have all the features that any phone has, like a phone number, ability to communicate, camera, access to the enterprise information, but securely. And this virtual phone will also be managed and controlled from a management system. So basically, in essence, if I will put it in another way, it's tackling also the BYOD, the bring your own device domain. So an employee can come to a new work, and instead of getting a new physical device, he can just get a link, and this link will lead him to install a virtual complete smartphone inside his smartphone. So it could be his own smartphone, or it could be the company's smartphone. This way, we are creating an encapsulated smartphone inside the mobile, and it's much more secure, because if someone is hacking into the physical smartphone mobile, then first of all, he might not know that there is a virtual smartphone inside of it. So this is one blocker. And even if it does, it will have it will be much more difficult for him to hack into the virtual smartphone, because this virtual smartphone is a encapsulated object that is also encrypted inside the phone. So it will be much harder to do that. It also solves a few other issues, such as if the employee forgot his phone, or the phone is lost or broken, he can very quickly take another phone, or even use something from the drawer, or ask for a phone from his colleague, log into his account, and within minutes, all the information, his environment, his emails, his contacts, everything that relates to his work will be downloaded from the cloud to his mobile, and he can start using his work device as if nothing happened. He can also do that from his own laptop or tablet.
So I feel like you answered most of the questions we were going to ask you, but
I was like,
that's great.
so Peter, I got nothing.
Yeah, but I am curious. What types of businesses do you see using this type of service?
We think that it could come from SMBs up to enterprises. I do feel right now that SMBs are more appropriate because enterprises already have solutions. They are using our competitors' MDM solutions. SMBs at the moment, and this is based on a research we've done, they prefer not to go into the MDM because first of all, it's expensive. You need to manage that. The employees doesn't like it so much. So we build the solution in such a way that it is very simple to do the onboarding. So an IT manager or a small business CEO or manager can very quickly create his environment and send invites to his employees to start using this environment. We think it will take just a few minutes. And once the employee got this invite, installed everything, verified himself, he will, within a few seconds, he will get his entire environment. His email account will be already configured inside his mobile. He will have a second phone number for his work. It's not mandatory, but he can have it. The access to files, the applications he is using for work. So everything will be pre-configured. So it could be very easy to use and friendly.
So a couple of years ago, I interviewed a company that offered something similar. You know, the idea was basically like a virtual machine that was running on the phone. So you had the phone itself was the personal phone, and then the virtual machine was the business phone. But the challenge they were up against, which I don't think they ever solved, I asked them. I said, "Well, what phones do you support?" And they said, it was a few years ago, so I don't remember the model, but let's say it was today. They said it was the Galaxy S8. So just the Samsung Galaxy S8, and like the S10 is current. So, you know, there were several hardware versions behind. And so that was challenging for a company because they had to try and find these older phones to be able to support it. And people couldn't really bring their own device at that point. They had to bring their one device. So how did you guys overcome that? Because you are able to support iPhone, Android, like you have a much broader support base.
Yeah, and I'm guessing this company used to call the Cellrox, and we know this solution. And you're right, they were only able to support the Google mobile phone. So we managed to overcome this. We can support any kind of a device, if it's an Android or an iOS, and also all the range of Android devices as well. Because we used a different approach. Back then, they created a new firmware for the device. So this device was needed to be installed a new firmware inside of it. Okay, we did it in a different way. We developed a full virtualization engine that is installed on a low level of the operation system of the Android. So it's actually interacting with the low level of the Android, which is the kernel area, and we are actually simulating the operation system.
Well, let's stick in the mobile world here with our next segment, this or that. So what we're going to do in this segment is basically kind of look at a point counterpoint of two sides of something, and in this one we're going to look at MDM security, Android or iPhone. And to me, just off the face of it, I would think that Android is easier because it's open source, or you can get in there and have a little bit more freedom. But is that your guys' experience?
I think if you read the media right now, most people feel that iOS is more secure, right? Because Apple has repeatedly refused the FBI's request to decrypt phones, and their phones encrypt by default. And people, I think, have a little more trust in Apple, probably misplaced in a lot of cases, but they have that trust. Versus Android, where there's 20 different phone manufacturers, and they all operate at different standards. And while it is sort of open source, there's large components of it that aren't. And so I think from a business perspective, it's all over the board, right? And if you look at like the president of the United States, where he's got an Android phone, they used Blackberries for a long time before
Yeah,
switching
that's
to Android.
Obama had that special BlackBerry, right? Wasn't
Right.
there?
Yeah, because he didn't want to give up the BlackBerry,
Yeah.
and but they didn't go to iPhones. But meanwhile, we get this media perception that iPhones are more secure. I kind of wonder how that fits in with something like Cube Mobile, where if you're running kind of like a virtual phone on top, does it really matter at that point? Like, are they both equally secure or unsecure?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's a good question and a good approach, because the virtual operation system or the Cube mobile environment is more secured, because everything that goes inside of it is encapsulated and encrypted. So it's going to be much harder to penetrate into that operation system. So it's much more secure. So we can offer a higher security level for the Android system for enterprises and companies.
And I know there's a
Is that
couple of
right?
companies that have actually tried to get out and put a security focused phone, but the trade off is usability. So if people can't run their Facebook app or Trivia Cracker, whatever whatever it is they play. What was it from last week? Farmville or,
Yeah.
or something. If they can't run that, then they feel the phone loses the value. But you've got to maintain that security. I haven't seen a security focused phone be successful yet.
So I'm curious though, in this situation with Cube Mobile, if I'm obviously at the company and I'm on the company's network when I'm on the secure half of my phone, am I on the Wi-Fi as well with my other half of the phone, or can you restrict certain sides like that?
I heard the start of
Okay.
the question, but I think I can answer that only by hearing the beginning. The fact that we have two complete environments, so the employee, the user, he can run his private applications like Facebook or Instagram or all these stuff he likes to do. He can run it on his private mobile and do whatever he wants on his private mobile. Then he has his secured environment, the work environment, where he will run only the application that the employee, the company allows him to run. Okay. Um, I didn't mention that when I described the product, but we also this entire management system also have its own app store. So the admin, the employee can decide which application will be installed or not. So blacklist, whitelist, which application will be pre-installed. If the employee we will be able to install anything at all except from the applications that were pre-installed by the admin or the IT.
Do you have to
Is
worry
that
about security issues that other virtualization platforms would have to worry about? Things like uh, VM hopping, that kind of stuff. So if I had my Android phone and I downloaded malware on the actual phone itself, is the app still then safe, or can it maybe propagate into the inside of the app, or do you have security features around that?
Yes, absolutely. There are security features around that that monitors this environment in all time to prevent attacks from malware or any kind of attacks. And our company actually started from security. Uh,
Is this
our
a
team is
Unit 8200 thing?
yes.
I'll take that as a
Some
yes.
You can neither confirm nor deny.
Hey, so this sounds like a really cool product that I think a lot of people would be interested in. And I know you guys were going to be at MWC, but we were talking earlier about some coronavirus issues and that not really being a thing anymore. So is there anything coming up for you guys as far as events, or is the easiest way to find you just head over to the website?
No, actually, we are now reshuffling our plans because of the cancellation of the MWC. We have a plans to be in a security show in London in June time, I think. But we are definitely going to do some reshuffling and probably go and attend some other shows, and we will update our plans in the website.
Fantastic. Well, cubedmobile.com is the address, and thank you so much, Zaki, for taking the time with us today.
Thank you very much, guys. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, no problem. But we have more Technado with Don Pizzette coming up right after this. We're going to get to the news, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Are you a career changer or a budding tech pro who's looking to start their career in IT? I'm Wes Bryan, and along with my fellow IT Pro TV edutainer Cherokee Boos, we've just shot a new show just for you. Each week, we'll dive into topics to help you launch your career in tech. Watch how to get started in IT on YouTube now. Just head to youtube.com/ITProTV to watch, and look for new episodes every Saturday at 9 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time.
All right, welcome back to Technado with Don Pizzette, and thanks so much to Tzachi Zack for joining us. That just sounds like a radio DJ from like the 60s, doesn't it?
Tzachi Zack.
Like Casey Kasem?
Yeah, Tzachi Zack spinning the hits here in Cleveland. All right, we do have a lot of news to get to, though, today. Our first article is from The Verge. Google Forms could secure Nevada's caucuses or throw reporting into chaos.
Let me go ahead and jump in on this. Those are the only two possible
Yeah.
outcomes, right? Like, it could be good or it could be bad.
Yeah, it could be fire and damnation, or
I
I
think
mean,
you're
heaven
safe with going into bed, right?
So, like, I'm kind of confused about this article. They're like, we wrote an article. Could be good, could be bad. We're not sure.
that's
But it was more about the other application that they like pieced out
We're
on. right?
talking about, the Iowa caucus had that fiasco, and Nevada was slated to use that same software and decided, hey, maybe not.
Yeah.
And so they said, who can get this done in a week and a half or whatever? And so they turned to Google, and I didn't realize they were just going to use Google Forms. So we're just basically doing Google Drive.
Well, think about like a last minute change, right? So everything got screwed up in Iowa, and so now they've got to back off of this. They can't use that app.
They could.
What is, they could, yeah. What is a secure, reliable way to share numerical information between locations? I think they made not a bad choice. Well, see, like Slack doesn't give you any spreadsheet capabilities or a form or anything. So somebody in the DNC for Nevada, I guess, stepped in and said, hey, let's just use a Google form. People can punch in. It'll go right here. We still have the paper backup.
And you can password protect that then, right?
Yeah,
And-
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, you can enforce that you have to be logged in with certain accounts, part of an organization, to use a form.
Yeah. The article on The Verge spins this off as like, this is going to be a train wreck, right? But I don't
it
think it's that
happened.
bad of an idea. And thanks to the magic of how we record these things, we already know the future. That the caucuses seem to go off fine, and all the numbers got in, and we don't have giant controversy. People aren't demanding a recount.
Yeah, I
and,
think we had reporting that night, and this was a Pacific Coast state, Pacific Coast time, and I remember seeing it on, what was it, Saturday? I think it was Saturday night. They already had results, and so that means it worked. And this would have been, let me do the math real quick, free compared to hiring an app development company. Yeah, obviously, you could pay for an account.
supposedly they actually do have an enterprise account, but it's still, I mean, it's like $6 a user or something to do it. And,
You could have registered every voter.
now
goes to
now
the
we can
caucus.
switch from being shocked about the software they use to being shocked about the candidates like we're supposed to be.
Exactly. Like the good old days, right?
So I will say, reading through this article, they did spin Google Forms in semi-negative light during times. But I can't tell you how many people have come to me with app ideas, and it's more or less just like a form. And I go, you could build that in Google Forms
Today.
for free.
Yeah.
For free.
They're like, but it won't have our styling. I'm like, but you don't know if it's going to work yet. So version 1's a Google form for free.
Yeah.
And they get really weirded out because I'm telling them, I don't want your money and I don't want to build a custom solution that already exists. So
Yeah.
weird stuff.
There's entire companies like Smartsheet where they specialize in this, online. It's a form. It goes into a database that really a lot of that can be recreated in Google Docs, or Office 365 could probably do the same thing. Like I think this was a great demonstration of how the cloud can come through as a solution at the last minute.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting to me here, too, is one of the concerns they had, and this would have been for anything, was connectivity issues in Nevada. You have desert in a lot of areas where there's, it mentions on here, sometimes you might have to get the results, then drive 30 minutes to be close enough to a cell phone tower, and then upload your results. But, that would have been with the other app or this as well, I guess.
Yeah, that same problem would exist. So that's not really a Google thing.
And when you look at those Verizon maps of coverage, like Nevada's the one state that isn't red.
Now I will say, I don't know about Google Forms, but the other like G Suite products, like Docs and stuff, they have a local cache. Like you can work all you want to without connectivity, and as soon as you reconnect, it goes.
Yeah.
So does Google Forms do that? Do you know?
I'm not sure if you can submit a Google form.
I don't know if
without-
someone else has been editing it though, because it would have to. But
that is
you're only editing your county or
Yeah, you'd be appending, not
Yeah.
necessarily
I'm
editing.
an anti-technologist, so no.
Oh, you're
Everyone-
like carrier pigeons.
I think we should have done it like in Jesus's times, where everyone has to go to the city of their birth with their entire family.
And then we
And-
all have to immaculately conceive a
Yeah.
child.
Yeah, because I've got a manger out back
Messy
that I've got an
business.
Airbnb that I've been like waiting to get somebody in there, but I don't know. We'll see.
I think those days are gone.
Just my pitch. All right. Our next article is over on Engadget. FCC forced to ask for public feedback on net neutrality repeal. It defeated Mozilla's attempt to undo the net neutrality ruling, but courts want the FCC to check its working. And if I remember correctly, this is going to do nothing because last time wasn't it all bots that filled out the,
Yeah.
the feedback?
This article,
At Engadget?
like if you read this article, you might get a nosebleed
Mhm.
because there's a sentence in there that was like, should you not look for the repeal of not, like there's like triple knots or something in there. I found the verbiage of the article very confusing. So it took me a little bit to go, are they for, are they against, what are they telling us? But then as you get a little further, it's a little clear. But the first part of the article is really confusing.
So the thing is they're blending two different stories together here. And so one part is how Mozilla was trying to repeal the repealing of net neutrality, right? Trying to basically get net neutrality reinstated. And the court said, no, you can't do that. Like the FCC was within their rights to cancel net neutrality. They did it. It's done. You can't put it back. So that means that if we want net neutrality again, we have to get the FCC to basically pass that as a regulation or get Congress to push it through. You know, that's got to happen if we want it back. All right. So the court said that's that. But the court said it is the FCC's obligation to act in the best interest of the public. And so they have asked the FCC to now initiate a study, basically to accept commentary again, on whether people have experienced negative impact of having a multi-speed internet or a multi-class internet, right? So the FCC was basically saying, look, we don't need net neutrality because people will get the same service regardless. It doesn't make a difference. And so the courts are now saying, you need to prove that to show that you are acting in the best interest. And if they weren't, you know, if they go and find like, wow, the internet sucks now that we don't have net neutrality, then they're going to need to step in and put some new regulation in place to protect it. But I think either just a minute ago you said it or before the show you said it, like it's total bullshit anyway, right? Because the submissions don't, even if the submissions were like all humans, they don't get looked at. Like they don't actually influence the policy proceedings at all.
Well, that's worth it then.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I was about to go give my feedback, and you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to go home.
Yeah.
The negative instance that they mentioned in the article is interesting because I didn't realize Engadget is owned by Verizon, but Verizon throttled the Santa Clara Fire Department in that during the fires last year, and that's one article one instance they point to of a negative effect. But I didn't realize is what's his face no
Ajit
longer?
Pai?
Yeah,
Yeah, is he not part of
because
the
this says
FCC?
FCC Commissioner Jessica Rosenworcel. Yep, I said that right.
Yeah.
Rosenworcel. How would you say that?
No, you said it.
Yeah, it's
you-
perfect.
You said it exactly how I would say it, but it's
It's still funny.
yeah, it's still funny.
So yeah, I don't recall when, but I do seem to remember him going back to work for one of the lobby groups, didn't he?
Wait, he went to work for the very lobbyists that lobby the.
Well, that's where he came from.
Yeah, I know. I was being sarcastic.
So, actually, wait, he is chairman of the U.S. Federal, of the FCC.
And she's the commissioner.
The commit. Oh, okay.
Wait a minute. How does that hierarchy work?
Yeah, well,
I'm sure they're asking the same question right now. And
assistant to the regional manager
maybe it's intentional.
or assistant regional manager.
Like, if we keep this confusing enough, we'll always be able to pass the buck.
So,
right?
but if it's confusing, what's the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission?
Mhm.
You think?
But isn't like communication supposed to be clear?
So their main thing
It's not the FCC.
was to make sure that in the original form was to make sure that radio waves didn't like radio stations didn't overlap. And then they kind of expanded out so that electronic devices wouldn't interfere with communications devices. And so they've kind of grown over the years to encompass other things.
So I hope they've added the "Are you a robot?" checkbox now to the form for
Yeah.
putting in things, or you have to like identify the ones that are pictures of cake,
Which ones have taxi cabs?
and then you're like
So
looking at it
some-
going, "That's a pie," I think. So
So sometimes those things,
they're the
it's like,
worst.
which ones have traffic lights in them? I was like, well, the traffic light actually spans like 5 different grid spots. Do I check all of them? Or
Yeah,
do I
like
check the one that actually has a light
the
on?
wire to the traffic light is,
Yeah.
is that part of the light?
So I've
Superstructure?
definitely got asked it. I'm like, yeah, it's that one. Oh, I got it. Which one has cars in it? Okay, well, I figured I got it right the first time, but
I think they should do like in Blade Runner and have a question. You see a duck eat its child. How do you feel?
Oh, because computers don't feel.
I get hungry.
That was, remember Deckard did the whole test on the...
Only humans would react to that, something like that.
You'd monitor the eyeball and subtle variations would show.
That all
like,
checks
man,
out.
I am hungry. Is that like a turducken?
That junk is good.
Oh, that's it for time on that
Oh
one.
no.
Stick a fork in it. It's
Timed
fun.
that one really well. All right. Our next article is from The Register, which
It's my favorite source of questionable tech news.
Yeah, every time I struggle with that logo. Is that a bird of some
That
sort?
looks like a condor or a vulture.
It's supposed to be a vulture.
Okay.
We're picking the carcasses.
Why would we're a news agency? Do we need a carry-on bird as part of our logo? Absolutely.
They're like the ambulance chasers of IT.
All right, well, let's check out this article. Apple drops a bomb on long-life HTTPS certificates. Safari to snub new security certs valid for more than 13 months. Keep your crypto below 398 days after September 1st, and you're all good. So this is saying if I bought a certificate that said it was valid for multiple years, all of a sudden,
Safari's not going to honor it.
not
Yeah.
valid to them.
Didn't Google already do this? Am I misremembering that for Chrome?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh.
Did they?
Maybe I'm misremembering. I could have swore we talked about that.
Being a Luddite, this does not affect me.
What would I search for? To find out?
Google Chrome
Certificate
lifetime
age.
certificates.
Yeah. So, when you go to buy a certificate, let's say I go to DigiCert right now and buy a cert. They sell 1 year, 2 year, and 3 year certs. And as an administrator, I'm always tempted to buy that 3 year because I know I won't have to change it out for 3 more years. I'm lazy, right? I don't want to have to go in and modify that. But the longer a certificate is valid for, the more time an attacker has to try and exploit it to be able to get that private key, or once they have it, to decrypt that data. So a shorter certificate lifetime helps to improve security. And that was one of the principles behind Let's Encrypt. Well, Let's Encrypt, they said, this is free. So we'll do a maximum certificate length of 90 days. And so that's what they did. You can't have a cert over 3 months. And so that's very aggressive, but it's free. You don't mind renewing. But when you go to DigiCert or somebody like that, you got to pay.
Right.
And so it's not as ideal. People buy long certs. Now, I did a quick check before the podcast to see who had certs that were over a year in length. Apple was fine. Amazon was fine. Facebook was fine. Microsoft had a 2-year cert, a cert issued in 2019 that expired in 2021. So Microsoft's current certificate would be affected by this. And maybe you, the listener out there in TV, radio land, whatever, if you've got certificates that are more than a 1-year length, then you need to consider reissuing those with a shorter length, or replacing them, because more and more browsers will probably follow suit.
So using the internet here, we did find an article from last August saying Google is planning to cut the lifetime of SSL certificates to 1 year.
But they haven't done
But
it.
I can't find an article that confirms that did happen. So I don't know. if there
Yeah,
was
so
pushback.
I vaguely remember talking about that because I'm pretty sure we talked about AMP websites. Like Google was forcing like how they web works by their like large amount of power. So I was like, I'm pretty sure Google's, but maybe they were just planning to. They don't have like a here's when it's going to happen kind of thing.
Well, prior to the episode, I used Chrome to go to Microsoft's website, which has a 2-year cert, and didn't get any warnings on it. So if they're planning on it, maybe it's in one of their canary builds or something, but not in the main. But Apple has announced it. They're going to do it after September 1st. So you still have like 7 months. This is my fast math. I went to public school. Give me a break here. So it's 7 months, and then that'll be a big deal for all 10 of the Safari users.
You could always just win. You have less than a year.
I'll teach him to sniff glue in the parking lot for the podcast.
This gasoline is delicious.
So sorry, you might have said this, but I was looking at the internet. If I if this happens and I then go to one of those sites on Safari, I won't be served that site?
You
or
get
I'll-
ransomware.
just by default from Safari.
actually does that. Yeah, it downloads it right from Apple.
It's weird. It's Apple ransomware, so you know it's high quality. The user experience of it is top notch.
The ransom note is light gray text on a white background.
Yeah, and it kind of shimmers in and out, and then the text gets a little bit bigger because they're drunk with power.
Thank you
Got
guys
that
for helping.
genie effect.
No, you'll get the standard invalid certificate warning. So if you go to a site, you get a warning that says this site's not secure.
You still
go
wanna
back
go.
and
Yeah.
Warning.
they make it hard to say like go there anyway. You have to hit more and all that mess. So
I think Firefox, like, there's been sites where I haven't been able to do that. Like, I had to go and like change a setting and add an exception
Oh yes.
before,
I
and
have
then
as
go
well.
back to
Yeah.
the site
Yeah.
because there was no proceed anyway.
I had
They're
that,
like, no.
I had that happen with Burp Suite. I was
Oh.
trying to like access and use the CA from Burp Suite, and would not let me go to secure sites. I had to go in and make an exception for it.
yeah, the easiest way to set that up in Firefox is just uninstall it. And
But then I can't use all my cool hacker tools. I'm
I will-
relegated to nothing.
I will give
Bro.
Daniel that there have been times where I've had to use like Burp. Firefox by far is the easiest to set
Yeah.
up to use with Burp.
well, like all the Grease Monkey scripts and stuff, that all works super easy in Firefox, and then you can fight with it in Chrome.
Yeah, in Chrome, they're like, now, let's say you have a year and a half to kill, and you need to figure out how to run all these things. We'll see you later.
Peter's having a good time with the soundboard. Over
No, that means that's time for that
Oh,
article.
I thought we
there.
won
I
something.
don't think it does.
Shut up, Peter.
I'm sorry. I did have this whole new set of sounds that I got specifically for Justin.
You suck!
Thanks.
Stuff like that. So
That was Happy Gilmore, right?
Yeah.
no, that was Digital Juice, our free sound.
Well, I think Digital Juice stole that from Happy
Digital
Gilmore.
Juice steals lots of things.
I'm pretty sure that was Kevin
Like
Nealon, right?
I'm sure this song is called Bunny Hill
No, it wasn't Kevin.
on Digital Juice. That's Bunny Hill.
Bunny Hill.
Yeah, that's all. Whatever we can do to get around trademarks and things like that.
Good times.
Trademark.
All right, let's move on to.
It's a derivative work.
I think there might be an article within this ad on Info Security Magazine.
If you can see Peter's
.com.
screen,
Yeah,
it's just
what's going on here?
It's like
down
we're using
there.
cookies, and we
There's an article.
Info security. Oh no!
An article under here.
Click
Phil
roll.
Muncaster.
Yeah, Phil Muncaster, the great EMEA news reporter for Info Security Magazine, brings us this one: U.S. gas pipeline shut after ransomware attack. So
Hold on. Is that the right verb?
shut? Well, it's he's from the UK.
For some reason, I just imagine someone walking up there and going, and like hitting with a dampener.
Listen, Billy, them ransomware attacks have gotten us good.
So, I mean, technically, they did have to shut the pipeline down.
Yeah, but that's
So-
what I'm saying. It's a shutdown because it's a very large process, right? It's just not some guy going out there and going,
Hey, can you
and
shut the
turning them
pipeline? Just close the pipeline door.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking about like the gas to my house. I can turn a knob.
yeah, but you're not a pipeline, Don.
It's a pipe.
yeah,
It's about yay big.
but
the size of a dime.
So when you're dealing
that
with
loud.
a highly combustible service like this, I'll bet there's a knob. I bet that there is. Maybe even just a button.
there's probably
Justin.
he got me.
Hey, God.
He got me. Yeah, but yay big.
Great. Justin's gonna cry.
No, he wasn't talking about me.
All right, so how many
Peter.
Bitcoin is it to get your pipeline
Yeah.
flowing again?
Well, I guess that's a positive side of this one is they didn't say in there that they're paying the ransom or whatever. But the big problem here is that they had their IT network and then they had their operations network that actually is what the gas equipment was attached to, and apparently they had not isolated them. So the ransomware, there was a spear phishing attempt against one of their employees, allowed the ransomware to get on their regular IT network. And then it was able to cross the boundaries over to their industrial side to hit all of the other gear and basically shut the system down. And the organization, which I don't think they ever actually name which pipeline it was, but they basically had no cybersecurity policies in place whatsoever. Just none at all. All of their disaster recovery and incident response stuff was all based on physical incidents.
Air gap, Don.
Well,
It's hard to get in. Oh, shit.
not in this case. So,
There's a USB port just on the bottom of the pipeline, I think.
Yeah.
so they played the we didn't know it could be this bad card, and so that
Because we are Luddites and we just don't use
Wait a minute.
technology.
Wait. So that's when you go, so what if I was smoking around an open leak in this pipeline? They're like, that could be horrible.
And they said, well, no, that's when you go turn this knob over here. You shut off the gas.
the
Put
knob.
that cigarette in your mouth. Yeah. So when I read this, all I could think of, so it's a horrible one of the series, Live Free or Die Hard, right? With Justin, that was the one with Justin Long.
Yeah, that was
But the
that was
entire
late.
premise is they're attacking like infrastructure like this, right?
The fire sale.
fire
So I
sale,
was like,
yeah.
oh man, Justin Long got in there.
Well, there was a James Bond where he was in a pipeline at some point,
I don't care.
and there was a bomb in the pipeline. Well, this is
How did he breathe? Did he have like a
Black gold never dies.
he had some sort of motor vehicle.
Oh, he was
In,
driving through gasoline.
This was the Denise Richards one, maybe. Or
Denise,
Halle
how
Berry?
old are you?
Okay, I grew up on the movie Wild Things. Okay,
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's
model your life after it?
You
Yeah.
could say grow up.
I'm that long.
Mom, don't come in here.
I'm watching my movie.
Son, we got to take that movie back to the store. No,
I'm
it's
watching
mine.
my stories.
The tape broke.
Funny, it was just a Kevin Bacon scene.
Did you know there were other people in this movie?
Yeah.
I did not. Well,
Mom, shut the door.
well, kudos to the Native American tribe that facilitated this ransomware.
I am not affiliated with what Peter just
Well-
said. That's what it
I'm assuming that after trying through the courts, to get these off
I mean,
there.
so Daniel and I were talking earlier. There's just like this moral thing. I'm not gonna say that like this ransomware stuff. It seems like a pretty good gig if you don't have any like, ethics.
Like
Yeah.
if you're living in your mom's house and you
Well,
got access to
no, I'll
the
tell you what,
internet.
and you're watching Wild Things on repeat.
It's on the hotel TV. I did see a story this week of a guy that was calling people, probably elderly people, I think, up north, and saying, I can help get a virus off your computer. You need to send me money. But he physically meant in the mail via FedEx, and like they intercepted the packages at FedEx because
And
somebody
they
reported
showed
it.
up and hit him with billy clubs.
Well, pretty much, but it was just like that's why they invented Bitcoin, because of that guy. So he can get his money.
It's certainly working. Like, when's the last time you heard about a ransomware person going to jail? Or being figured out even who they were?
But listen, he doesn't have time to think about Bitcoin with those Wild Things on repeat like that. I am not going to let
be
you
a
live
recurring
it.
theme.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Well,
get
he
a
gives
poster
me
for the
hell
wall.
all the time, so I got to return it.
Yeah, it was a great film.
It was an
It
Oscar.
got an Oscar, right?
Best,
Best lighting,
best grip.
key grip.
Yeah. Hey yo, how do I not have that as a sound?
Rim shot? Boom, boom.
Oh, no.
No?
No, not
Not
that.
it.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
that's
better.
the one.
That's better.
That's
Okay.
the one he used when Wild Things is on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, shut the
The
door.
Kool-Aid Man? What is it?
Looks like I'm not going to make it to my volunteering tonight. All right, over at macrumors.com, we have our next article. Slickwraps suffers data breach after ignoring warnings from security researcher. And Slickwraps is, of course, the people that make the wraps for your phone. And
Oh, I thought you were going to say condoms.
No.
They might make those.
No, I'm telling you, I thought it was a
Yeah,
sex
you
toy
can get your picture. They'll print any design on it.
Yeah, sorry. My mind is going wild with that. Could I get? You remember those old war bombers with the teeth?
Yeah, yeah.
Could I get one of those?
Because that's what women want, teeth.
Joke's on you. Justin takes his teeth out.
All right, so anyway, Slickwraps.
So we're gonna have to flag this one, right?
Yeah, this can't go in the regular YouTube.
Oh man, this has been fun though.
Justin is sweating.
we took,
Where's my
we took
fan?
Justin's
My
fan away.
Gooch fan ain't there.
Gooch fan. Anyway, what's Slickwraps do?
Yeah, so they didn't listen to people that are smarter than them.
Yeah.
Classic mistake.
So when I came across this article, there were a few weird things. Like, first off, it was on Mac Rumors, which is one of the sites that I follow. I don't usually follow them for security news, but this is tangentially attached to cell phones, so that's why it was on there. At first, I thought this was going to be a good morality lesson for people. Like, hey, if a white hat hacker approaches you and says, hey, I found a compromise in your website, you should thank them.
And throw money at him.
Yeah, if you've got a bounty program, but even if you don't have a bounty program, at least say thank you.
If it's
and then
something like super
fix it.
severe, start one right then and give that guy some money.
Well, in this case, he engaged, I guess, with the company, and instead of thanking him, they blocked him on Twitter,
Yep. As you do.
and basically just stopped communicating. And so then he publicly disclosed it. Hackers got into their website and ripped the entire customer database out, and then emailed all of the customers.
Does he have any liability there?
Well-
Because I understand saying,
But he
being
made a-
upset that you went and showed it them and they said, we don't care. But when he releases that, I mean, is he?
It's just a dick move.
It's a dick move, but
it's
it's
kind
not
of a dick-
criminal, right?
Right.
So I did a little more research on this one. I dug in and got as much as I could because all of his tweets have been removed from Twitter. His Medium post where he posted it up, that's all gone. So all this got removed. But through my
That
investigative
paste bin link is
journalism,
still live, though, isn't it?
am I going to get Edward R. Murrow Award or something?
No,
Or is
we're.
that-
I
we're
think
still
that's the JD Power Award.
Yeah,
JD
no,
JD
our,
Power.
our GD Power.
GD
is what
Power.
we're waiting on.
JD Power Award.
I'm trying to earn my
Where's our
GD Power Award.
Award? Yeah, because Don's the best truck.
So, natural gas powered. So, basically, he found a weakness in their site. Daniel, you probably remember the Dirty Cow
Oh, yeah.
exploit.
Yeah.
So that one came out in 2016, and they
Yeah, you
hadn't.
should see the logo for that thing.
Yeah.
It's a dirty cow.
Yeah, it is.
So, so they hadn't patched for it. So he used that and found that he could write to the file system on their web
They
server.
hadn't patched for that?
No.
This was on their create a skin thing where you could create your own skin.
Man,
Justin,
dirty cows all over
any,
creative.
any comments on that, Justin? On the create your own skin tool?
No, I got
No?
several
Okay, go ahead,
designs percolating now.
So then he went into full pen test mode. And this is the part where he's likely going to get arrested because you can't pen test somebody's site without their permission. So he then wrote an htaccess file into the thing that allowed him access to the entire file system. And then he started browsing around. He found their entire customer database. He found all the uploaded images people had done when they built their own case pictures.
Nice.
Like 9 gigs of content. He created an admin account for himself. He accessed
do
their
that.
CRM, created an account for himself there. He gained access to their help desk, which was Zendesk, technically a third-party system. He created an account for himself that was the owner.
You think he'll like
So-
jail?
I know. He did a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And
Get
then,
some custom skins and
and then he undid it all. So he removed, he took all screenshots of all this stuff. He put it in his write-up, posted it on the web, and then undid all
Please
that.
take me to prison.
he called this Exhibit A.
And that will happen. Like, this guy broke the law. You can't do that. So then he reached out to them. Now, because all the tweets were deleted, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. Like, hey, this guy genuinely tried to reach out and stuff.
Right.
But when I pulled up the tweets, so let me just start here. Daniel, you're our security guy. So let's say if you got a tweet that said this, hey, Daniel, you failed the vibe check.
I'd be like, okay.
All right, are you trying to say something about our Slickwraps?
Yeah.
So
The vibe
Yeah.
check.
So in his write-up, he says, I wanted to do a subtle tweet anticipating that security researcher, white hat hacker in my Twitter bio would be sufficient enough for them to know. But personally,
There's
I would have
nothing about security in that whatsoever.
I would have ignored that tweet. It's ridiculous.
I would have
right?
thought it was somebody on them,
wait.
hitting the meth pipe.
So they
I gotta
only
some
do
tweeting.
wraps
Put up
for
for 6
phones,
days.
right?
Right.
and like MacBooks and iPads. And stuff.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So then he fired off another, like, an email to their tech support, which just went to Zendesk, and apparently they don't answer emails for days. And so a little bit
That's
later,
why he created an account so we could answer his own
Yeah.
request.
And so a little bit later, so that the first contact was at 1:04 a.m., and then he did the second contact at 1:40 a.m. So he didn't get a response in like 30 minutes. And so then his next one was, looks like your customers already aren't happy. This ain't going to make it any better. And then he posted some text excerpt from one of their support tickets. But he doesn't say, like, hey, I compromised your support system. He just posted some text, assuming that
I
whoever
don't like this
saw
guy
it
anymore.
would know where that text came from.
Yeah.
And of course they didn't. And so then he posted another one the same way. So he's like being really convoluted. He posted a URL next to a text file that he had written to their home directory, like, here's my proof of concept. But I'm not going to click on some link somebody sends me, especially a whack job. So the guy did like the worst job of notifying them possible.
He must write for Stack Exchange right? This is just like the worst way to try to help someone possible.
Writes for the register.
Yeah.
Now, it's not all his fault though. It's like, he's a total dick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he posted all this stuff he could have certainly done this a lot better. But then when Slickwraps finally understood, finally caught wind, and this took days, right? Days later, then they blocked him again. and started like patching and deleting and all that stuff and not notifying. And so that's when he got really mad and said, "That's it. I'm going to post all this stuff online. You guys are trying to cover it up." And that's when the breach happened.
Really, no one
Dick
looks
move
good.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one looks good in this story.
So,
though.
but it was another set of individuals that like compromised their database and did a mass email that said, "Yo,
Well-
your data's been compromised," right?
According to the guy who,
Oh,
Yeah.
according to him, it wasn't me. Somebody else did it. I'm just.
I mean, I've been hacking your site for the last 6 days. But
Yeah.
Also, it's
I
not
believe-
vibing right with me.
Yeah.
Nice.
The vibe test.
I believe this guy as much as I believe Shaggy when he says it
Yeah,
wasn't him.
It wasn't me.
Shaggy.
He's
For some reason, I was like, "Oh no, Scoop."
reggae rapper from the early 2000s.
It wasn't
Okay.
me.
I just immediately went Scooby Doo.
Yeah, I went Scooby Doo as
Shaggy.
well.
He ate the sandwiches and said it
Well,
wasn't him.
I knew the song, so
Yeah.
I understood the reference.
Whatever.
We had fun in this episode.
There we go.
We sure did. Hey, we're still having fun, and we've got some fun coming up. If you head over to itpro.tv/webinars, you would find out that this Thursday, February 27th, is a webinar, How to Train Your End User, Running an Efficient Help Desk. And if you are listening to this podcast after that time, don't worry. If you head over to itpro.tv/webinars, you can even watch the archived ones, maybe ones on pen testing and things that would have helped the Slickwraps people. We also have removing the Slack with Microsoft Teams. See what we did there? How to deploy Teams in your organization is coming up on March 12th. It's going to be with Adam Gordon and Cherokee Boos. itpro.tv/webinars is the place to find out all about that. And as you're on the internet and browsing around, why don't you go over to go.itpro.tv/Technado. You can find a 30% off coupon code for your personal subscription. It's good for the lifetime of your account. You can also fill out a form and get a demo for the Teams features that are available if you have a team. What else we got going on? Oh, we got Leap Day. Did you know it's a leap year this year?
It is.
It's very exciting. On 2/29.
You sound excited.
I am. Oh my! Hold on. Let me try that again. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
On 2/29, IT Pro TV subscriptions will be only $229
For a year.
for the whole year,
Yeah.
and you even get that extra day.
Uh-huh.
So it's 366 days that you get. We don't shut your account off for Leap Day, even though you've only paid for 365, which we should consider, because we're kind of getting screwed on that deal, I feel like.
We can take one for the team.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right. We're also making the entire course catalog free that day for people that have a subscription but not a paid membership, so you can come and check out all the content and see what it's all about before you make that huge
We're
commitment.
taking credit for that, but in reality, there's a bug in the system that doesn't protect videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Apparently,
should we patch
leap
it?
seconds of stuff will take down Cloudflare and make everything free.
Should we patch that? No, don't patch it.
Nobody will notice.
Just make it a thing. I feel like there's other stuff going on.
We got unannounced stuff like the Backdoors and Breaches game coming up.
That's the other thing I was supposed to talk about. Yeah, Backdoors and Breaches. That is a game put up by Black Hill Security, right?
Black Hills InfoSec.
a physical card game, but we have worked with them to create a digital version, and we're going to be playing with Don as kind of the MC game master, and then there's going to be 4 other IT Pro TV edutainers that are going to be playing. Are you guys playing? You're playing.
I'll be playing. Yeah.
Are you playing?
I don't think
you
I'm in this
volunteer?
round.
No, it's Ronnie,
Yeah, Ronnie, Mike,
Mike,
Wes.
and Daniel. Okay, that's going to be exciting. But that's coming up next Friday, which would be, who knows? Hold
Is it
on.
next Friday?
What, the
Yeah.
date?
That's going to be the 6th of March. So look for that. Again, just head over to IT Pro TV for that, and you'll be able to create a free account to watch that in the live stream. You don't have to pay for that. That is free with a free account. So hopefully we'll see you there, and we'll learn all about backdoors.
And breaches. Or breaches, as some of the employees say.
Yeah,
Bridges.
that's what I've been saying.
Bridges.
Yeah.
Or what did Val say? Backdoors and
No,
break-ins?
she says backyards
Yeah.
and
Backyardigans?
backyards and breaches.
Backyardigans.
Yeah, that's a whole different game. But anyway, Wild Things is almost on TBS, so I have to head home now and catch that.
And everybody should subscribe, right?
Yeah, but I gotta go.
To Netflix
It's almost that one scene.
Yeah.
with Kevin Bacon.
But yes, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and subscribe to get all the latest episodes here of Technado with Don Pizzette, but you can also do that at iTunes and Google Play, and we're on Spotify now. I got us on Spotify.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
I need to tweet back to the person who tweeted me to ask if we could get on Spotify.
Yeah, I went through the rigorous selection process where you put in your URL.
Ah, that's pretty
Hit submit.
pretty heavy lift.
Yeah, but I did it.
Finally.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Congratulations.
Oh, wait.
It's been
I
typing
like
that
you.
URL in for like 6 days.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Woo-hoo. That wasn't really a happy
kids
crowd.
love us.
That's happier. Those kids sounded angry.
Yeah, boo, Peter, boo.
Sorry, kids. Well, anyway, thanks for joining us this week. Thanks again to our guest, Tzachi Zack, and we will see you guys next week right here on Technado with Don Pizzette.